Hello, everybody, and welcome to another sensory lifestyle talk. Today, I want to talk to you guys about how to teach your child to use a tripod grasp. If you have watched kind of my previous lives, my previous talks, you will you can look at in more detail. I talk about kind of what is a functional tripod grasp and all the developmental skills that your child might need to kind of like those foundational skills to help and develop that functional pencil grasp. But today I want to focus specifically on talking about how you can use, what kind of strategy, sorry, you can use to teach your child that tripod grasp. So this is kind of the tripod grasp that I'm talking about. Now, the reason why I chose this one, this is kind of the one that you might see occupational therapists more commonly talk about and encourage to use because it really allows a lot of movement in the fingers. Now, the more movement in the fingers, the better control of that pencil, the better you can write and the faster you can write as well. So this is kind of the grasp that we'll be talking about. So the strategy that I like to use is what I call the Peter the Pilot or Penny the Pilot strategy. And when you are teaching this to your child, of course, you need to demonstrate. So make sure you kind of, you have one pencil and then your child has a pencil. So I'm going to go by step of what you should say and do. So the first step is really all about kind of pinching that pencil. And, when you are talking, when you kind of giving your child instructions about it, if you do notice that they kind of grasp it quite high or quite low, what you can do is you can use like a little sticker to kind of post exactly where you want. And you kind of want it like this height. Or what I like to also sometimes do is get a wiki sticks, cut like a small piece, and just wrap it around, and that gives it kind of a nice tactile prompt. So the first step is that you can tell your child, okay, we're going to pretend that this pencil is a plane. Now to fly the plane, we need a pilot and a co-pilot. So a pointer finger is going to be the pilot, and you can call it the Peter the Pilot, Penny the Pilot, or really you can use any names that you prefer. I just like PP. Okay, and then your thumb is going to be the co-pilot. So they need to sit right here at the top of the plane. Now what you want to do is make sure that co-pilot doesn't sit on top of that pilot, because if that co-pilot sits on top of the co-pilot, guess what? The pilot cannot see where you are going. So make sure that they sit next to each other. So this is the step number one. Very important to have it pinched, right? And to make sure that that co-pilot does not sit on that pilot. The next thing that you kind of want to do is get that middle finger and support the pencil right from the bottom. So this is what you can tell your child. All right, now your middle finger is going to be the flight attendant. The flight attendant is going to be nice and close to the pilots. So let's put them right underneath here. Now you may need to physically show your child how to do that, but this is kind of the first two steps, right? The pinching and the support underneath through the flight attendant. The next step is, kind of getting these fingers tucked in the palm. We don't want them flailing around anywhere. We want them tucked in. So this is what you say. All right, now the rest of the fingers are your passengers. Now the passengers need to sit down and they sit. So let's tuck them in just like this. So hopefully you can see now we have a beautiful, beautiful pencil grasp. The fingers at the top are pinching. The middle finger, which is the flight attendant, is supporting here, and these fingers are tucked in. beautiful, very easy to use, that can control that pencil. Now, if for some reason these fingers are flying about, a strategy that you can use, you can grab a pom-pom, or you can even grab a crumpled piece of paper and say to the kids, you know, the passengers need their luggage. So let's put that luggage right in here, and the passengers need to make sure that they hold onto it so it doesn't fly, fall out during the flight. And this will really give them a nice kind of a physical prompt to keep those fingers tucked in. So there you have it. Now, a thing that I do want to mention is that, when you're teaching your kiddo how to use a functional or a tripod grasp, it will require a lot of repetition, a lot of practice. Just like with anything, like riding a bike or, catching a ball, you need a lot of practice, and you may need to, guide them and demonstrate this a few times. But having that story, you may not need to use kind of all those cues. It's like, oh, is that co-pilot sitting on top of the pilot? Make sure they sit next to each other. We need to see where they fly. They need to see where they're flying. So, just know that they will need a lot of kind of repetition and guidance and demonstrations to really make this skill much more automatic. Now, if you have an older kiddo that you're trying to change their grasp from the current grasp that is inefficient, whether it's causing them pain or anything like that, or it's just affecting their neatness and speed, um, I want to mention that, above second grade, it is much more challenging to change a grasp. The main reason is because they have already a very well established grasp, because they have many years that they've practiced and used that particular grasp. So, your child needs to be much more motivated, and kind of it requires much more kind of that conscious effort. Now, if it does becomes, quite challenging, you can definitely move on to trying like a commercially bought pencil grasp that you can put on your fingers. Now, there is a lot of pencil grasps out there, so I know it can be quite overwhelming. And different pencil grasps are needed for, different sized hands or different challenges, and, different reasons for what's going on with those fingers. So it is important to try out different grasps. I mean, here's an example of one, right? It really kind of guides those fingers in a position, but again, it's not the only one out there. So what I would recommend, right, is, really, I would contact your child's teacher and see if they have any pencil grasps that they can borrow or try out with your child, right? And if they don't, your school should have a kind of access to an occupational therapist. So and they should have kind of plenty there. So for the kids to try, I'm just kind of showing you a few different ones as we talk. There's like thicker ones. So it all kind of really depends on your child's need, but you want to definitely try out a few and see what works. Now, I think that's it for today for the pencil grip. But again, if you want to kind of find out more about what's a functional grip, what, should I really try changing my child's grasp who's, already has an inefficient pencil grasp, all of that can be covered in my other lives. And I'm actually in the process of finishing up a blog post that will be also talking about all those details. So you can definitely check that out next week. I'll be posting that next week, and I'll make sure I'll put something on Facebook here as well. Okay, so that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you have any other questions, feel free to connect, and I'll be very happy to answer and help you out. All right, have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye.